Je vous rappelle que le Q&A du film Zoo va avoir lieu dans 5 minutes. Donc je vous invite à venir vous asseoir et à venir profiter avec nous et leur poser des questions. Et puis, ils vont pas tarder à arriver d'ailleurs. So if you want to join us for the Q&A of the movie Zoo, you're welcome to come and sit here. And also waiting for the guests. Dans 3-4 minutes, on va commencer le Q&A. Je vous invite à venir vous asseoir pour écouter l'équipe du film Zoo.
zet je aan de overkant het beste af. En dan kunnen ze ook het beste op de camera's aan alle kanten. Alhoewel, ja. Test 1, 2. Ja, dat is af. Test. Oké. Ja, we zijn nog niet aan het kijken. Maar... Maar ik vind dat ze feed en zo van social media en Twitter enzovoort, want dat kunnen we niet zien natuurlijk. Ja, dat kunnen we wel zien bijvoorbeeld. Ja, dat zou... Ja, dan zitten de mensen zo door een boek. Ja, we kunnen in de fiets al, hè. Ja, met ga gewoon de chat volgen.
Close to this one, yeah. Sure. Thank you.
Don't eat it, huh?
No, but you should, yeah.
You have to be.
Because the audience looking like still into it. So even if like when it got like dramatic, yeah, still can find jokes and laugh and stuff like that. I have no idea. I mean, but when the film was finished, very big applause. And also the whole what the hell did we see? Love.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So it was good. So, but that was one more. Yeah. Or we can sit on top of shit touch.
Probably.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Just don't feel it fun.
Oh, sorry. Exactly. Yeah, just whatever. Just, yeah.
Maybe you can use this note.
Okay.
Sorry?
Test. That's not working.
It's not on, it's not working.
Nothing's on.
No.
Well, no, I mean...
Are these working? Hello?
Alexander
Hello?
was sort of saying that kind of felt that.
So, good evening. Well, yeah, sorry to interrupt, but we have things to do. So, good evening, everybody. Welcome for the Q&A of Zoo. We have our guest here at the table, and we're gonna, ask them some questions. First of all, I want to say, okay, that was cool. That was different. I didn't know what to expect, but I really like the fact that it's like a zombie movie, but there's not that many zombies. It's like there's more depth to it, and I really like that. How did that happen? How did you get the idea to make it that way, and why?
I remember. Can people hear me? Yeah, probably. When we started playing with the idea.
Sorry.
Okay. This one works.
Sorry.
Maybe should I do this one instead? Yeah, I'll do this one instead.
Stay close.
Okay.
Stay close, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you use this one.
Yeah, but the whole thing when we played around with the idea, me and the producer there, it was like making a zombie film without zombies. That was kind of initial thought. But the whole thing is like, we have animals in cages, and this is like the apartment is the human cages. So that's how we study mankind, and also like the way I kind of write is I create these characters, and I kind of let them go and follow them around and see what happens, and they do weird shit. But they do. Yeah. So I blame it on them.
You wrote the weird shit.
Okay. And then when did you start on this story? Is it a long time ago? How long did it take to get from start to finish to make it?
It actually happened pretty fast. I tend to write in a big chunk, so I wrote it in a couple of days, and then we had another thing we did, right? Yes. And then we presented it at the co-producer market in Montreal. Okay. And from there, I think it was like 3 months.
It was 3 months.
And we
it was 3
shot
months.
the film. And which, obviously, it's a low-budget film.
Okay, but it worked.
Yeah. Shot it in 3 weeks.
Oh, really?
So everything happened very fast, actually.
Is there? You say it's low budget, so that's probably the reason that you didn't follow them outside. Okay.
That's one of the reasons, but I kind of like to being with them all the time.
Yeah.
I think. Oh, messy. But of course, it would be. We always had this joke, me and Aleksander, like outside. That's where the Tom Cruise movie is, the big action movie. That happens on the outside, but we're telling a little story within the big story.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
And how about the humor? Are all the jokes, are all the situations intended from the start, or did they happen to come up in your writing, or did you rewrite things while shooting?
No, that's
Let's answer that because
Okay.
discuss. Yeah.
I think what was interesting, what I found fascinating about Antonio's writing in the first place was that it was written by a Swedish man. When you read it as an Englishman, right? I thought it was written by a Brit. Like having the understanding the sorry, going to go all funny now. Understanding sort of the colloquial way that English speak and having that grasp of British humour was both Zoe, who played the other lead, and I both discovered was that we were sort of blown away by how Antonio had such a great understanding of that, and. What's interesting about working with Antonio and Aleksander is that there's a very clear idea about what the script is and the world we're working in, and it's very, very contained, very condensed, very minimalist crew. And yes, the script is there, but we were allowed the opportunity to explore and allowed to come in with what we wanted to do. Now, but the beauty of it, of the script, is it was all there on the page already. And actually, as an actor, more often than not, the one thing you're looking for is for the words to seem like they're second nature, and for it to things to just lift off the page. And Antonio's writing allows you to do that, and allows you to play, and it allows you to have fun with what you're trying to do. And one of the big things is that I think it's interesting what Antonio was saying a moment ago is that this is, dare I say it, at this festival, it's not a zombie movie. That is on the periphery. That is secondary to everything going on in this film. And and as a result, one of the things we have to do is, as actors, is to try and engage with making this as normal as possible. So what was interesting was almost as if the zombie thing, oh, that's a normal thing. Oh, okay, there's zombies outside. Oh, no problem. Okay, fine. Well, we just deal with that, and then as if as you see in the film, like we're watching the news and all these stories are unfolding that are making your brain think one thing, but to just try and normalise it at every twist and turn. And that's kind of been the way these guys have worked. In that, if you see the previous work with like LFO, it's having a heightened reality but keeping it on a straight and narrow at the same time. And it's a really interesting thing as an actor you have to try and do, because you have to kind of, every time you're going to push in one direction, like over pushing humour, and Tony will be like, no, just calm it down and bring it in, and it was an interesting way to work, definitely.
So just try to keep it okie dokie.
Exactly. Just okie dokie.
How did you get the cast together? Because there's a Belgian actor in there.
Yeah.
How did you find him? How did all that happen?
John is actually, I found him here.
Jan.
Yeah.
Jan. Bijvoet. Bijvoet, yeah.
Happy feet.
I've been practicing all day actually on that. But I found him here actually at Biff a couple of years ago. Yeah, I was here a couple of years ago. They took us to this absinthe bar. It's an absinthe bar, and
We'll go there after.
yeah, exactly. And I saw him there in the crowd, and I was kind of starstruck because that's Borgman for me. And he was in Borgman, that film, great film. And I usually never go up to people. I'm too scared to but maybe the absinthe helped. I probably did. So I went up to him and talked, and we became friends. And that was like 3 years ago, I think, something like that. Yeah. And when we came to this film, I just had to ask him because we wanted to work together, and here we found a way.
Cool.
So
that's how it goes. So is that how you found everybody? Or
No,
is it?
and then we found Ed. We found Ed first, actually, but that was through mutual friends, we can say.
Yeah.
So we started having a lot of Skype talks, talking about the character, and liked each other.
Yeah, it was one of those things. I mean, it's a sort of script that I didn't expect to ever land on my feet, and if it land on my plate, and if it did, I certainly didn't think it would. I thought I'd have to go round after round after round of auditioning, and actually, as it transpired, it was a chat with Antonio, and then a couple of weeks later, you fancy doing the film? I was like, yeah, because it's not, as you see the audience reaction tonight, it's not what you expect. It says one thing and it does the other, and the twists and turns. I mean, it's a dreamboat opportunity for an actor. It was,
Okay, cool.
So why did you make the decision to shoot a film inside the apartment for most of the time? So when the couple leaves the apartment, you never show the hallway actually where they try to fight with the zombies. You avoid most of the graphic violence of that kind. Why that decision?
Well, that's actually budget things. Maybe you should answer that. But yeah.
One thing is that it's of course a budget thing, but the other thing is also that does it bring anything to the story? Does a fighting scene bring anything to the story? And a lot of fighting scene doesn't really bring anything to the story, to the narrative. The narrative will stop, and then you'll see somebody fighting. So if we're making, do you think I should get it closer?
Yeah, like this.
If you, but the thing is, like, it is a love story, and does a fighting scene really contribute to that? Perhaps not. So it's also, of course, it's a budget thing, but also like with the story we have in hand, it's not necessary.
It is really interesting that indeed you kept the focus on how the relationship of the couple evolves, and that is the main part here. I think it's a beautiful choice to make instead of just another bloody, gory zombie film.
Sure, thank you.
But that's the core of the film, though, isn't it?
That was the intention in the core, as you say, of the film. It's because we don't see it as a zombie film. And I think from the very beginning, it wasn't intended to be a zombie film.
Yes.
It just happened to take place during a zombie apocalypse, and that's where the story is told.
just by accident.
Yeah.
It just happens like that.
Exactly.
So you had this clear view on, how this story would be different. Is there things now that you would say that you would have done differently?
Well, it's interesting with the whole thing. Like we have this dark humor that's pretty constant, and like in the first half of the movie, and then it slowly goes more dramatic, more towards a love story. It's a tricky way to balance that. I'm not sure if I would do anything different, because I mean that's the way the characters went. That's what happened to them. That's also like a slice of life. It's not funny all the time. So that was a conscious choice. Like, okay, let's go towards love. But that's something I've been thinking about, because I don't want to fool the audience. It's like this is just a dark comedy. It's a bit of both.
And if it's not story-wise, would there be something else, production-wise, that you would say like, okay, we could have something interesting that you could say like, well, that's something we learned from this that we could do next time, or different, or...
It would always be fun to have like a little more effects and gore, just to be able to play around with it. Just maybe to like make it a little bit bigger sometimes. That would be fun. But I'm super satisfied.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that answers my question.
Of course, there's always learnings. I mean, you learn something every time you do a film.
Yeah,
but
I'm trying to get that.
Yeah.
What did you learn?
Exactly.
But I don't think it's necessarily, if I just change this, then something would have been better. It's just like learnings, and those learnings you will bring with you for the next film, and then the next film will be even better.
What will the next film be?
We have actually a couple of films in the pipeline. The next one is pretty similar to this one, especially with the sense of humor.
Okay.
But it's more kind of straight, dark comedy, I guess. Pretty messed up.
I think that your humor and the way of mixing genres into each other is very very much you, and very unique, and that's what we will continue to do.
Weird shit. That's what we do.
All right. Could you guys tell us about the circumstances on the set? What happened? Were there any issues? How did you fix them? Were there any fun stuff?
We had the rap party on set.
You did?
Have you ever heard of that? Most rap parties take place in a bar or a nightclub or something like that. We actually had our rap party.
Because we didn't have the budget.
Well, we didn't have the budget. It was fun.
Yeah, it was super fun.
It all played out in the apartment, so in terms of fun things happened. I don't know, it was a very...
Loads of fun happened.
An eye-opener for me was seeing a producer also be the first assistant director, also be the grip. That was an eye-opener for me.
Well, it makes sense if you have the Coke.
Yeah.
You can do anything,
I mean,
right?
that is true. If only it was real Coke.
Sure.
But it was.
Yeah. I mean, I think, as I was saying to these two earlier on, but when we sort of wandered around the streets of Brussels, it was such a... I don't know about any particular stories that stick out, but the whole thing was just such a... It has a dear place in my own heart as a great way to work. Because, and it's interesting to hear what we were talking about a moment ago about, would you have done anything differently? Do you need to add anything here? I don't think you needed to, because the story is what the story is, and we had such a wonderful, tight-knit group of people who were interested in telling that story, and every day it was a fun day. We'd come to set, we'd work out what we're doing today, and we'd go through it, and it was a fun exploration, and we're very lucky to do what we're doing in order to go out and make films and have fun doing it, and then to have a reaction like that out there is also a pretty special bonus.
Rewarding.
So yeah, how does that feel? Because this audience is pretty different. So how does that?
That's why we love coming back. I think. This is an audience festival. The audience are in charge.
Yeah.
And that's very fantastic and scary too. On this side.
They're very honest.
Yeah, but I love it. I want to scream. I actually do scream at stuff. What did you think? This is your first time.
I was kind of... I was particularly fascinated by the port every time I do it. That was very good. I mean, I got to the point of just wanting to sue it myself, to be honest. But yeah, what's interesting is knowing what this film is and sitting in an audience like that, where actually you're potentially expecting an audience to be waiting for the blood, guts, and gore, and to see the sort of the fantastical elements. So I'm so sorry. I'm not very good at this. I should take up acting. But actually, to see an audience actually be so gripped by the story, and actually, because I think we were all nervous about that. I think we weren't sure if they would want to go with the story and the drama of it, and actually seeing the relationship at the core. But I was overwhelmed by people. You know, the involvement of everybody out there was humbling as well as it was good fun. You sort of want to be a part of it.
It's true. After you visit BIFF and you watch something on the big screen, it's never the same again. You always want to keep screaming things at your television.
Yeah,
it's
it sticks.
True.
It sticks. Maybe we can go to the audience. Maybe there's people with very interesting questions. So is there anyone?
Nothing.
That has a question, and we are
Just
also
eat your chips.
live on
Just
YouTube.
enjoy the burger
YouTube.
and chips.
So there might be people having questions online as well. But there's a question over there.
Hello.
Screen on YouTube.
I saw. Wait, sir. Years ago, I saw when I was a student. I saw the first film by Danny Boyle, which was Shallow Grave, and it a little bit reminded me of that. Although it was the total opposite, because there it's trust no one, and here it's like trying to gain trust.
Yeah.
So it's the total opposite. But what I was trying to, did you have British humour or that kind of thing in mind when you were writing it? Because it really works out pretty well.
Okay.
I can't believe that you just invented this thing, because we saw Robin 2 years ago, and it bears your mark, but it looks like you had kind of British humour in mind when you were writing this, because it really works out pretty well with the humour and everything, and also you remind a little bit of Taron Egerton, but a little bit more.
I mean, he wasn't in Shallow Grave, but yeah. I mean,
yeah, it wasn't. It's just like, it looks like you got something like that in mind when you.
But I think the Scandinavian humor and the British humor are quite similar, actually.
Yeah.
And as well, the Belgian humor.
Yeah.
I think it's sarcasm and the dark humor which
deadpan,
we Scandinavians, Brits, and Belgians has in common.
and Brit Belgians.
And Brit Belgians.
Yeah, but you've got family from Antwerp, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't know if it's something to be proud of, because
Steady
I'm
on.
Flemish, so I can say
Let's
that.
have a chat outside.
All right, well, thank you. It was a really good film.
No,
I
thank
really
you,
liked
thank
it.
you.
Yeah. It's also one of my top 5 of films that take place in one space.
Okay.
And that can literally not bore you to
Yeah.
death.
It's a challenge. It's a challenge
That's
to
a real
keep.
challenge.
Yeah.
What are the other four?
What?
What are the other four?
Well, I really like that kind of films, but like...
You said it's in your top 5.
The other 5, Rare Window,
Yeah, very good, very good. Yeah.
Shallow Grave, which I know it doesn't always take the same.
But more or
same
less,
place,
yeah.
but, Reservoir Dogs. I mean, it's sometimes this one's even better, because actually when it comes to in one space, because it literally takes place in one space.
It does.
Yeah,
Actually,
we only leave the apartment once to see it playing fresh.
There's another one. It's not in one space. It's I don't know if you've ever seen Akira Kurosawa's. In French, it's called Les Bas-fonds, which is the low depths, and it takes place in one particular area. And he literally built it, and then he just shot it from all possible sides, and it never gets boring.
Wow.
And that one lasts over 2 hours, so you have to.
I'll watch that one.
It's really
Okay,
good.
cool.
So thank you.
Thank you.
In depth.
Okay, is there anyone else who has a question in the audience? I don't see anyone, so let's.
We're free.
You have one?
Sure. Are there any scenes that didn't make the cut? What did you not show the audience?
They are. What? Do you remember, Aleksander? We shortened stuff.
The rehypnol bit wasn't in there.
Which one?
The rehypnol, wasn't there the rape?
Yeah,
There
what
was,
that?
there was the rape drug in there. When we were talking about heroin and we get all the drugs out, there was the rehypnol.
Yeah, exactly. But that was just a line we cut
Yeah,
out.
exactly.
Yeah, but I was thinking about if there was a
I
scene.
actually don't think there's an entire.
All scenes are there, aren't
I
they?
actually
not your
don't
fault.
think that's an entire scene that's been cut. I mean, of course, there's been shortening, but I'm actually not sure right now.
I'm totally confused.
That's the Belgian beer.
Yeah, that's the Belgian, yeah.
2-minute troll.
I think we only shortened. I don't think there's anything that's cut,
Right.
not the whole scene.
I see.
But it's always difficult to make it short and
All right.
tighter.
Well, then maybe a different question about the scenes that you wrote down. What was the most fun to bring to life? What did you enjoy most that it actually became a living thing?
I think for me, the whole scenes with the neighbors.
Yeah.
With John and Antonia. I mean, those were amazing to shoot. Just like the dynamics you guys had, and it's so messed up. The whole, I mean, how they starting controlling them. You can sort our socks and all that. It was fun to play, and also like for you guys to play it as this is normal.
Yeah, I think that's as we were talking about earlier on. It was like normalising the situation and just making it. Yeah, I mean, I think also because it was for so much of the film, it's Zoe and myself and developing that relationship. So it was like this whole new environment came in and having to work around that and actually kind of inhabiting those spaces.
The new energy.
The new energy completely.
And we felt it on the set as well because we shot like 1.5 weeks before they came or something.
Yeah.
And it was just us.
And because the entire film is shot chronologically, which is kind of rare. Normally you won't shoot it chronologically. It felt like kind of people was inventing.
Yeah, completely.
All of a sudden somebody came in and was there in your apartment. And it kind of felt very natural and then when you got rid of them, it's kind of like,
That was a sigh of relief. Right, let's get back to what we were talking about. Yeah.
and that's kind of an interesting thing because it's not normally that you shoot a film chronologically.
Yeah.
You would also just chunk it up. It's like, now we shoot everything in the bathroom, everything in the street, whatever. But we shot it almost chronologically.
Yeah, almost.
Awesome.
Where was the location that you shot it?
We shot it in a studio in south of Sweden.
Oh, it was a studio. Okay.
So yeah, that's also one of the reasons we couldn't get out of the hallway because we could.
There was no hallway.
To build the wall.
There was a wall.
There was a wall, no hallway. Okay, you should have said that right away.
A lot of coffee cups, I guess, from the team.
There's a lot of coffee.
There's a thing that I wasn't really sure about, but is it the thing they said? The character said like if they're not dead, they don't become the zombies. But she was turning into a zombie without being dead. Why did the dead people, the neighbors, woke up after being shot, after being drugged? Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, no. You
don't fight.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they die. I mean, that's my thing. I mean, they die like a fast death of the overdose. I mean, the heart stops. As with Karen characters, she like slowly dies and she dies in her sleep.
Okay.
And she realizes she knows what's coming. She can feel the hunger and everything.
But it is if you're sort of always dying before you become a zombie anyway.
Well,
then.
no, but they have an infection. We just weren't privy to the neighbour's infection, right? No?
What one?
The neighbours.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they
Exactly,
weren't infected, but like we're not privy.
Exactly. Everybody's affected.
But
Also the your character as well.
Exactly.
yeah,
But later.
I choose. No, I choose. I make.
You choose,
I
yeah,
make,
and then
I,
you
no, I make
choose.
the decision to become infected. So it's by being with.
But did you do something to get like some blood on you or inside of you, or did you not you but your character?
Yeah.
Or did he just?
No, the character
Mentally.
sacrificed because he's standing there in the ending, trying to shoot, and
So rather than shoot her, I then tie myself up with her and then allow her to eat me.
Okay. And that's how
So
you
I make the decision. I'm like, well, I can either go down on my own and try and live on my own, or I can let you.
Okay, so in your character's case, it wouldn't have happened by itself.
But
if
he chose to. That was
He
the only
chose
way to
this,
have
yeah.
happiness was to be.
Okay. Now the story is complete.
choose to love.
She chose love.
So how would you
Sacrifice
actually
and
define this as love wins in the end? Yes or no?
I do actually. I actually do. I think
Cannibalism wins in the end.
No, but the thing he wants the most, his character, is to win her back. And he actually does. So love conquers. It's a bit tragic what happens, but it's still. I think it's a happy ending because the whole film is about them, and they actually find back to each other.
I mean, because John's character had never fallen out of love. Obviously, the circumstance, the tragedy in their own life had sort of splintered them and set them on their own different paths emotionally, and it's actually by horrific exterior event that's taking place that brings them together, and actually they work out that that's all that really matters. And if they're going to go down, they want to go down together. So.
Yeah, I think it's one of the most beautiful moments of the movie is when the rescue team comes in the end, and the face that the man makes, and he says that, what are we looking at? This is love. That's what actually ties everything together. And
that's the summarize of the film.
That's what actually supports the statement that indeed love wins in the end.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. It's beautiful.
It is.
Maybe there's a last chance in the audience for a question over there.
They finished their chips now, so it's fine.
Can you get the mic? Can you get the mic?
Oh, she can come up here.
Hi, do you hear me?
Hello. Yes.
Okay, so thanks for this nice moment. We really enjoyed it. I had a question about how you actually do marketing for this kind of movie. I'm going to be more explicit. One thing I've noticed that many movies that come here at BIF have in common is that they don't belong to a particular category. You can try, but it's like this movie. It's at the same time a zombie movie. It's a comedy, especially the first part. And then it turns into a drama, a love movie, etc. So you cannot really put it in a category. And many of these movies I see here have this in common, and you end up often not seeing them in the normal cinema circuit. Is that one of the reasons why? Is it because usually, people who buy movies to be screened in the normal, the main circuit, they want clear, definite categories. They want a clear product to sell to their public.
Yeah. Maybe you should answer that, Aleksander, as producer. Yeah.
Is that me?
Yeah, that's you.
That's your field of expertise. I mean, it's an interesting question also because it's very complex, and the thing is that making genre bending things are very interesting, and that's what we try to do. But it's also like very difficult in a way because people tend to like to put things into boxes and say this is a horror film, this is a zombie film, this is a love story, and we are constantly struggling that thing, but that's what we like, and most of the story that Antonia have wrote is kind of this genre bending roller coaster trip where we go from some genre into another, but basically I tend to personally I look at all story as you have a drama, and if you can put a genre on top of that to emphasize the story, then it's good. And if you can actually take that away and it still works, then it's a good story. But if this layer actually emphasizes what you want to say, then it's good. But it's still a challenge to get that out to people, because people really love to put it into boxes and saying this is a zombie film. So I mean, I don't know if you want to elaborate on that. I don't know.
No, I totally agree.
It's interesting, and it's. But I just also think that right now, where everything is moving, we are more interesting in things that are more genre bending. It's just not the typical things you see in big theaters. But if you look at streaming services, they have much more genre bending things. So it's just that we don't see those as the big tentpole movies, but I believe and I hope they will come, because I think that's what fascinates me.
And that's why festivals are so important to us, to be seen.
The follow-up to that is there already a distribution deal?
Yes. Where?
Him again?
Yeah.
Where and
The film is sold to US and UK and a lot of other countries, Asia. So there are distribution deals. Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So it's possible.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Do you have something?
But if
don't
there's
have
a
anything?
Belgian
Are there any,
distributor, if there's a Belgian distributor,
Is there
I would
Belgian
like to say
distributors
hi.
in the room?
This
Just the moment.
This is the time to launch it on Twitter. Maybe shout out to Trump to tweet it.
Exactly.
yeah.
So yeah, 5 years ago you took a prize home. You're going to do that with this one again?
I have no idea.
Say yes.
I'm yes.
Yes.
Of course. Yeah. I'm just honored to be here.
Well, let's hope so.
Yeah.
I'm sort of out of all of my questions. I'm not sure if you have anything.
Yeah, one more. Like, what is for each and every one of you your next goal? Because, like you said, there are more projects coming up. But be more specific. Like, what's the next thing you want to reach? And that's a question you can all answer in your own.
I think for me it's just continue to do this. I mean, like Zoo, like LFO that I also had here, to be able to tell my stories. I mean, like you were talking about. I mean, packaging stuff and do it in a certain way. I kind of like to do it my way.
You still want to keep fusing genres.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's always a backdrop of genre. Yeah. I mean, our heart is in genre.
And on a very practical level, I mean, we are in dialogue with the Belgian co-producers, so who knows who will come here and shoot the next one.
Yeah.
All right.
And you, Ed, what is your
He will
next?
always be there.
60 picture deal.
I mean, without, I know obviously we're on the back of a screening here, but yeah, I mean, there's lots of things I'd like to do personally, but genuinely, as long as I can work with these two once every 2 years, I'll be fine.
Nice.
Okay.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So thank you very much for being here. I want to ask the audience a big applause for Antonio, Aleksander, and Ed.
Et je rappelle au public, si vous voulez maintenant venir faire signer des autographes, vous êtes les bienvenus pour les autographes. Je sais qu'il y en a quelques-uns qui vont venir.
20 euros.
So people will come and ask for autographs. Okay.
Good news.
We're gonna leave you guys. Thank you. It was amazing, man.